Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about a really serious and important topic. I'm going to add the title here right now while people join. Really quick, we're going to be talking about what's going on in Gaza and in Jerusalem. So let's see if I can add this title. This is going to be a very important discussion. So today we are going to have the honor of talking to someone who is in Gaza right now. As you have seen, there's been a lot of incidents going on in the Middle East, especially in the region of Palestine and Israel. So first, I would like to give a background to people who don't know about this issue. So over the course of many years, there have been what people have been calling conflicts. Now, it's important to remember that this conflict didn't just start with, this is mine, no, this is mine. It also has to do with violence, oppression, and some even call it apartheid, and also ethnic cleansing. So let's start from the beginning. So after the World War, when the Sykes-Picot Agreement came to be, the English and the French decided to split up the Middle East. The French took Syria and Lebanon. The British took the area that is now known as Israel, Palestine, Iraq, and Jordan. Now, as you know, there has been a lot of anti-Semitism in the world, especially in the European region. So, as one should when one is being oppressed, they want to live in a free and respected community. So, the Jewish people felt that they were not belonging to this very discriminatory society, especially in countries like Germany. They then experienced the Holocaust. Who would ever want to go through something like that? Hurt people hurt people. So now these Jewish people who felt like they just wanted to live, they wanted to have their own country to feel safe in. So, as part of what the British actually decided to do was they took a verse from the holy text, you can call it the Torah, the Bible. It says that the Jewish people will find the promised land, will go back to the area known as Zion. That's what the word Zionism came from. So now with that, the British, part of Europe, were like, this could be a good solution, right? So it would essentially give a home to this other, the other, right? So the other here is the Jewish people. So the Jewish people were like, sweet, we get to have a place where we're not being persecuted? Yes. So what did they do? The British decided to grant them land in a place that was called Palestine, okay? It was called Palestine. Ask your parents, okay? So it was not an established country, so to say, but the area of land was called Palestine. Now, people who tell you, but it was Israel before Palestine, they are right and they are wrong, and I'll explain why. So, in biblical times, the area that you now see today as Israel and Palestine was called Canaan, okay? Canaan. That was the majority of it. A smaller part of it was called Israel. So, Canaan and Israel, okay? So, if they were to even reference that there was an Israel back in the day, it actually used to be called Canaan. Now, the Israel that they're referencing from today did not exist for more than 80 years. It hasn't even met the 80-year mark. I believe it's at the 75th year. So this is a fairly, really new country. The Israel of today is not the Israel of the past. They're both overlapping in the same land, but they're not synonymous. The Israel that was created today was created by the British for the Jewish people, but became a land for Zionists to rule. Now, what's the difference between a Zionist and a Jewish person, a normal Jewish person? You can be a Zionist and a Jewish person, and you can be just a Zionist, meaning someone who supports the state of Israel or those kind of ways. And you can be just Jewish. You can be Jewish and not be a Zionist. So don't be mean to all the Jewish people you know. They might actually be on your side if you support Palestine. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that we're talking about Zionists, okay? We're talking about people who believe that there shouldn't be any Palestine or Palestinians or anything of that sort. I'm Armenian, okay? So I can recognize traits of ethnic cleansing. So what they're doing right now is a form of what I saw the Ottoman Empire, now known as Turkey, do to Armenians, all right? Of course, the Armenian genocide had different qualities, right? So, but a lot of them, there's a lot of overlap. Displacement, killings, targeting a specific group, right? So when people say we were here first, just remember that the Palestinians were living in harmony, in peace for hundreds of years with Jews and Christians and Muslims. Did you know that you can be Palestinian and Christian? Did you also know that you can be Palestinian and Jewish? Did you know that you can be Palestinian and Muslim? You can be them all. So, this is not a religious thing. This is a power thing, okay? Of course, there's a tidbit about religion because the Jewish people were persecuted in Europe. That's not cool. But currently, in that land, the Zionists are taking from the Palestinians. The Palestinians have always welcomed people to their land. When the first Jews came after they made it a declaration of the state of Israel, and there were a few, the people started coming in, the Palestinians were like, okay, but these people are needing help. They were welcoming, right? But then when the Zionists started taking from the Palestinians, they were like, whoa. And I think anyone would do that, right? So let's fast forward to today. Today in Israel/Palestine, there are things happening. So you should know that there are 3 types of passports, essentially, you could have in Israel-Palestine. The first one allows you in the Palestinian territories. They are the West Bank and Gaza. The other one, and it's very, very, very hard to enter Gaza, by the way. So even if you had a Palestinian passport, you probably couldn't even get it to Gaza. It's very hard. Second one, Israeli passport. You can go anywhere. Third option, Jerusalem. Okay? So now, the people living in, the people who have the Palestinian passport cannot enter Jerusalem. So I could literally, as an American, travel to Jerusalem thousands of miles away, but the person who lives 10 minutes away can't get in, right? So these are the daily struggles they have to incur. Like, what if that person had to go to work, and cross through? Nope, you got to go all the way around it, right? That's what's going on. So now, what has happened in the past week? Let's talk about that. In Jerusalem, which is the super, super holy city, right? It's super holy to Muslims, Christians, and Jews, right? We've got the Wailing Wall for the Jews. We've got the Masjid al-Aqsa, which is the masjid in Arabic means mosque. Al-Aqsa is the name of the mosque. And they call it the Dome of the Rock, okay? Because it's very pretty. And that's the 3rd most holy mosque in the world for Muslims. And we, of course, have the city of Jerusalem is so important for Christians too. Hashtag Jesus. Okay, so that's what's up. Also, as an Armenian, we have an Armenian quarter there too. So this city is super holy. That's why for a very long time, no one wanted to touch Jerusalem. Like, whoa, okay, you know what? I don't want you to be in my land, says one side. I don't want you to be in my land, says another side. But, in the end, we are going to keep Jerusalem what it is because it's way too holy. That was the way to do it. Because if you can't agree, you shouldn't go into the most holy place, right? So, but technically, again, because the current country of Israel, not the biblical Israel, the current country of Israel is so new, it essentially, Jerusalem was Palestinian, right? Before this new Israel. If you want to go further back, sure, come at me, like, cool. But I'm talking about just like really present right now, okay? Stay with me, okay? I really respect all opinions, so, okay. But as journalists, we got to speak the truth, okay? History. So, now, where are we? We are in Jerusalem. Okay. So, Jerusalem was then started, there were some settlements. Jerusalem was like kind of split in half. It had half Israelis kind of living there, doing their thing, and then we got half like Palestinian neighborhoods. This week, which started everything, okay, had Palestinian towns, right? The area of Jerusalem, right? The Israeli soldiers started coming into the Palestinian neighborhood going, knock, 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 hi. And they're like, hi, what do you want? And they're like, I want your house. And they're like, bro, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you want my house? Like, I live here. I've been living here since, like, I was a baby. And then my mom's been living here since she was a baby. And then, like, literally my grandma bought it in, like, the 30s. Like, what do you mean you want it? Like, you gonna pay me for it? And they're like, no, actually, I'm just gonna steal it. And then you're just like, bro, oh, like, could you imagine if someone just knocked on your door and was like, it's mine? I was like, says who? You know what I mean? So that was like insane. So they're like, what do we do? How do we like protect ourselves? And honestly, the Palestinians don't really have many weapons. That's why you see on TV a lot of Palestinians, like, they're like, the Palestinians were throwing rocks. And then like us in America, we're like, oh my gosh, rocks? Like, ouch. But they're throwing rocks because that's the only thing they have. The other side, the Israeli side, has extremely high technology. Like, extreme, like so extreme that it's like, I would argue more technologically advanced than United States armies. So imagine like missiles versus rockets, rockets, missiles versus rocks. Not safe. Now, before all y'all say, hey, what the heck, what about Hamas and there are 200 rockets this week? Trust me, I'm getting there. I am not saying one side is better than the other. I'm just trying to give you a history so you can educate yourself, so you can make the decision, which to me I think is pretty clear. So let's keep going. So this week, Israeli soldiers came and told people to get out of their houses. Like, what the heck? No! Okay? So after they did that, Palestinians were like, well, we don't have weapons, so what do we do? So like, okay, we're going to protest, because that's all they can do, right? So they start protesting, and all of a sudden we see a lot of Israeli soldiers throwing stun grenades, which are like, they make the sound of grenades, they explode like grenades, they have the gas, but they don't make as big of a damage impact than a real grenade, right? So they're throwing these stun grenades in front of and inside, okay, wait for it, ready? Masjid al-Aqsa. No! Bro, no! Okay, so Masjid al-Aqsa, again, third most holy site for all Muslims, right? And they are throwing stun grenades in there for no reason. Literally, they were just praying, okay? And they just came in and they were just like, boom. And they did that to incite fear. Like, how dare you say no to giving me your homes? Kind of like a little nudge, right? They keep nudging. It's like, what the heck? Oh, and on top of all that, it's Ramadan. If you guys don't know what Ramadan is, it's the most holy month of the Islamic calendar. And if you say, what's the Islamic calendar? Well, think about it. You know when you celebrate Christmas, right? Either the 25th of December or the 6th of January, right? Well, for the Islamic calendar, right now is Ramadan. So the whole month is the holiest month. So people are going to the mosque, right? Well, these guys are legit throwing stun grenades. Like, imagine going to church on Christmas Eve, and people are just like, you didn't give me your house, so I'm going to throw a stun grenade while the priest is giving his sermon. Like, what? No. As we say in Arabic, ma bisir. Like, that doesn't happen. No, like, that's not allowed, okay? So, after that, they're still, like, not retaliating, because, again, Palestinians literally don't have weapons, and they're just like, bro, stop. So all they do is they take out their cameras, right? That's their biggest weapon. Show them the truth, what is going on. Then, what happened with the clash? So I'm going to be honest, from what I saw and from what I know and from what I've seen in the news is out of the blue, Israel started bombing Gaza. Now, remember, Jerusalem is near the West Bank. It's like way over here, okay? Boop. And then Gaza is like, whoa, way down there. Like no connection, okay? Like no connection land-wise. Like they're two like circles within the Israeli state of today, right? So the Gaza one, like all of a sudden they start bombing Gaza. It's like, what? So imagine 3 provoking things. I'm going to steal your house. I'm going to throw stun grenades and like skunk gas, which is like a type of gas that like is really toxic. It's made of like sewage in your mosque. And I'm going to like bomb innocent civilians. By the way, they've already found 5 children dead. Okay, so don't let them fool you saying like, oh, they're trying to kill like I don't even know who they're trying to kill. Like, why would you even want to kill anyone? Like adults? Like, no. Like, but the kids, too, like, kids are not doing anything. They're singing and laughing, okay? So they did those 3 things. Now what happens? So all those 3 things are happening and no one's doing anything. And that's where the problems happen. When no one does anything, like when I say no one, I mean none of the Arab countries that have money or power and none of the Western powers that have money and power. When they don't have any of these things, what happens? Then groups that the United States or anyone else deems a terrorist group, right? Okay, I'm quoting because that's what they call them. I'm not saying my opinion, I'm just saying what the United States calls them, okay? So Hamas, right, which is a terrorist group according to the United States, is the group that is literally the only people protecting the Palestinians. So yeah, maybe some Palestinians think they also are not so great. But guess what? That's the only thing they have for protection. So what happened is Hamas from Gaza, by the way, the PLO and Hamas are the 2 governing bodies. PLO, Palestinian, same thing. Liberation Organization. That one is usually in the West Bank area, near like Bethlehem and Jerusalem, like over there, okay? Nablus and all that. And then the West Bank, that's usually where like Hamas's stuff is. So Hamas from Gaza was like, whoa, bro, talking to Israel, you stepped it way too far. So then he went like, all right, I'm gonna go ballistic. No pun intended. Okay, so they literally sent like 200 rockets or something? I gotta get that number, but it was around that. And you might be like, 200 rockets? Oh my gosh. I think I know why. By the way, no excuse. No one should be sending rockets. I'm trying to get in the head of these people right now. Okay, so hear me out. I think he sent that many because Israel has a thing called the Iron Dome. If you don't know what the Iron Dome is, it's this literal thing where people are waiting, okay, from the Israeli Defense Force, ready at all times to shoot out missiles from the air before they reach onto the ground. It's pretty cool, right? That's like high tech, and it's extremely precise. So guess what? Out of 200 rockets, only 3 fell. Only 3, right? So I think that's why he sent them. He's like, I want to retaliate, but if I send one, it's like, it's never going to do any damage. By the way, no one should be laughing at any kind of damage, any kind of rockets. It's scary for everyone, okay? Like kids, no one should be exposed to this. I'm just trying to like take you into the minds of all of the people, okay? So like So by the way, it was directed towards Tel Aviv. So bad, okay? So Tel Aviv is like technically, like depending on who you ask, the capital of Israel, right? So Tel Aviv is like a very like city vibe, okay? Major city vibe. It is so important that that area remains safe because it's like commerce and like, you know, again, it's like hip. It's almost like New York, but like in the Middle East, okay? So this town is super modern and stuff like that. If you touch Tel Aviv, Israel is gonna retaliate. Like that's like, it has its eye on you. You know what I mean? So to do that, like for Hamas to do that, it must have been like really bad. You know what I mean? And it was. That's what he saw, right? Or that's how he felt. You know, it was that bad that I'm going to do this. Sending one rocket to Tel Aviv is like shocking. He sent 200. So that's why this week is so important. One last thing I forgot to mention before I bring in our special guest. Hopefully everything stays good and he's on. Yep, he's still here. Perfect. Thank you. Like, shukran, Mahmoud. Just best. So the last thing is, in 2017, there was Trump, okay? We all know who he is. He moved the consulate of Israel, like of the United States to Israel, from Tel Aviv, right, the capital, to Jerusalem. Now, what's the problem with that? An embassy can only be in the capital of a foreign country. So essentially, Trump was saying, the capital of Israel is Jerusalem. Now, that's problematic because, remember we talked about that town was sacred. It's only for, like, the just enjoyment, seeing that holy place, being spiritual. It's not about politics. So when Trump did that, it gave more ammunition, no pun intended. I don't know why I'm making all these puns. It is not funny, okay? But like it gave them more power or confidence, I don't know, to say, wait a second, this is my town. And now more Israeli soldiers and Israeli extremists, Zionists, are going and trying to take houses from people. Disclaimer. Not all Israelis want to take over Palestine, okay? Like, that is not a thing, okay? A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. So, don't look at a Jewish person and think they're a Zionist, and don't look at a person who lives in Israel and assume they're a Zionist. That is all. Now I'm going to bring in my special guest, Mahmoud. He is so brave. It's like an honor to be with him. I'm going to be translating for him because he doesn't speak English, but it's going to be amazing because he has been through it all, and we're going to ask him the questions we want to ask. So I'm going to bring in Mahmoud right now. Let's see if this works. Hopefully this works. All right. Thank you so much for staying and listening to the history behind it. And now we're going to have a live view of what's going on the ground. Hi!
Hello.
محمود كيفك؟ شو اخبارك؟
تمام جود.
تمام الحمد لله. أول شيء بدي أقول الحمد لله على السلامة عن جد. ما عم بقدر، ما فيي. That's all I can say. ما فيي. I can't like شو عم بيصير هناك. بدي بس أعطي المايك معك، يعني الصوت لإلك. حبي أسألك يعني أول شيء يعني شو صار اليوم الوضع. أنت تمام؟ وبعدين رح نحكي. احكي مين أنت وشارك معنا.
أنا محمود، مواطن فلسطيني عايش في غزة.
مهم.
26 سنة عمري.
مهم.
الوضع بشكل عام عندنا اليوم ممكن نقول أنا الحمد لله يعني هيني قدامكم ما صار لي شيء، لكن خلال آخر 3 ساعات كان في استهدافات بشكل مجنون. احنا وصلت عنا انه يكون بين الاستهداف والثاني 90 ثانية.
يعني استهداف يعني like قصف.
اير سترايك اور بومب from
Airstrikes. Okay, دقيقة راح أترجم. So this is Mahmoud. He's Palestinian. He's from Gaza and he's there right now. He has internet right now. Before he didn't. So this is really, we're very lucky. um, and he said that right now it's okay. He's okay. He's doing well. But 3 hours ago there was a lot of airstrikes. So احكي لنا شو صار اليوم بالنسبة للاير سترايكس، ويعني شو صار اليوم عشان شفنا شوي قبل، يعني قبل يومين، بس شو صار like حاليا.
حاليا هو ما كان بس اير سترايك، كمان كان في الدبابات على الحدود وبتضرب القذائف. حتى يعني تخيل انه حتى من البحر كان في سفن بحرية بتضرب قذائف علينا. يعني احنا
واو.
كنا هجوم بر وجو وبحر.
واو. اوكي بدي بس يعني اشوف اذا انا فهمت منيح. يعني في مراكب بالبحر اللي عم بيرسل القصف
صح.
لعندكم في غزة. Okay. So he's saying not only were there airstrikes today in Gaza, but there was also strikes from boats, because remember Gaza is on the sea, it's on the Mediterranean Sea. So there were boats, Israeli boats, sending these kinds of strikes from the water into Gaza. واو. فشفنا كتير اشياء على الانستغرام ومواقع التواصل الاجتماعي مع يعني الاولاد والفيديوهات، وكل الناس عم بيصرخوا في كتير، يعني كأنه كان في مئات من القصف. يعني قد ايه تقريبا انتوا شفتوا؟
بعرف بعرف اذا انت سامع هلا اللي بيصير عندي.
او ماي جاد.
هذا
يعني
كان يصير
حاليا.
حاليا، هذا كان يصير قبل 3 ساعات كل 90 ثانية.
Okay, guys, that was literally. هاي كان قصف.
قصف.
Oh my
ثواني
god.
اشوف اذا ممكن يبين
That
اشي بس
was
انا.
a bomb, guys.
اوكي.
Okay.
ما بعرف انت شايفة في
اه
ضوء في السماء قاعدين
يعني
عم
oh wow in
يتحركوا.
the distance.
إيه إيه.
بأي مدينة أو منطقة هاي الإشي؟
هاي المنطقة الحدودية الشرقية لمدينة غزة.
So it's the eastern border part of Gaza that we just saw the remnants of that bomb we just heard go off. Wow. ما في كلام الصراحة. فقديش يعني كان في هال انفجارات يعني على غزة لأول يوم يلي بلشوا قبل شو 3 أيام لحلا. يعني إذا بتقدر تفكر فيه قد ايه تقريبا؟
عدد يعني؟
شو؟
عدد كم انفجار عدد؟
تقريبا.
أنا ممكن أعطيك عدد، لأنه إحنا كان في إحصائية عندنا إنه قبل ساعة كان في خلال نص ساعة 100 صاروخ نزل.
صراحة. Oh my god, guys, he's saying only in the last 30 minutes there was over 100 bombs. مش معقول صراحة. like مش معقول. و
كمان إحنا قطاع غزة عبارة عن 45 كيلو متر.
and Gaza's only 45 kilometers wide. Teeny tiny little, and there's 100. like كأنه ولا حدا بيقدر يخبي من الخسوف.
بالضبط.
it's like I was saying, it's as if no one can even hide from the bombs. So حبي أسألك، أنا بعرف إنه في إسرائيل في، ما بعرف كيف الكلمة بالعربي يعني، مساحة تحت البيت يلي بتقدر تخبي حالكم right في هدول
ملاجئ.
الاشي شو
نو
اسمه
نو، ملجأ.
منجا في هدول المنجا يعني بغزة.
لا انا بدي اقول لك، هلا احنا في المناطق الحدوديه اللي بصير فيها هلا الضرب، فالضرب بيكون لحد كبير عشوائي، ففي بيوت بتكون بتنزل والناس تهرب منها. فالمكان اللي هاي الناس ممكن تتخبى فيه هي مدارس تابعة لوكالة غوث وتشغيل اللاجئين.
Okay, so he says that okay, so in Israel they have bomb shelters in every home that was built from in the last 15 years. He didn't say that, I'm just telling you that right now. What he just told me is that there aren't bomb shelters in homes in Gaza. If you want to hide, you have to go to like a local school for like, did you say leji'in, right? For refugees?
yeah.
Okay. So that's scary in itself. هاي يعني بخوف كتير عشان تيجي على هالمكان لازم تطلع برا. To get there you have to go outside. So
كمان في شيء لازم يعني تكوني عارفة انه احنا حاليا الوضع اللي في العالم كله كوفيد 19، ولما يكون في تجمعات المفروض هذا بيزيد من الاحتمالية، غير انه احنا هنا في غزة ما في عنا استعدادات لا للمستشفيات او لقاحات او عينات فحص، حتى ما في عنا اعداد كافية انه نعمل فحص. فانا لما اجي احط مجموعة كبيرة من الناس في مدرسة، هنا انا بعمل اكتظاظ سكاني وبعمل يعني كأني بعطي الكوفيد 19 المساحة اللي ممكن
آه
يتحرك فيها بعض.
آه يعني مشكلة على مشكلة. Okay, حابي بس
صح.
أترجم دقيقة. So what he's saying is he's even afraid to go to these schools and going to the bomb shelters of these schools because in Gaza there aren't adequate hospitals or enough vaccinations for COVID to like COVID-19 safety vaccinations to become a safe area to breathe amongst each other. Now they have to go underground or in these schools to hide from these bombs when they have to pack tightly together and no one's vaccinated. This is a problem on top of a problem. Okay. يا محمود حبي أسألك كمان يعني أنا حكيت مع حدا وأنا حكيت لها إنه يعني عن شو صار هالأسبوع بالنسبة للتايم لاين، يعني شو صار أول وبعدين أنا قلت حبي أعرف إذا أنا يعني ممكن فهمت شي غلط ولا لا. أنا فكرت أول شي اللي صار كانت إنه الجنادي إسرائيليين راحوا على يعني البيوت في القدس وقالوا يعني يلا يعني اطلعوا. هاي كان أول
صحيح.
شي. Okay, so
صح.
perfect. So let me say that. So the first thing that happened, which is confirmed, is that the Israeli soldiers went into the homes in Jerusalem and said, "Get out." Okay, now I'm going to confirm the second thing. تاني شيء اللي صار يعني العنف في مسجد الأقصى. صح؟ Okay,
صحيح.
good. Second thing was the violence at Aqsa. ثالث شيء حبي أسألك، إسرائيل هو رسلوا أول قصف إلى غزة وبعدين غزة يعني رجعوا مع 200 يعني انفجارات هيك.
تمام. أنا بالنسبة للموضوع هذا يعني اللي حابب تكوني عارفاه إنه إسرائيل يعني على مدار طول العام بيكون في صواريخ، بيكون في إطلاق نار على ناس، على صيادين في البحر، على مزارعين في الأراضي الحدودية. هو الانتهاك موجود طول العام، بس إنه لما أنت بتيجي في وقت إنه أصلا الموضوع في كل فلسطين، في كل أراضي الفلسطينية اللي هي أصلا حدود 67، لما تصير الفوضى في وين مكان وأنت تيجي كمان على يعني ما خلى مكان في حدود ال 67 إلا وعمل مناوشات معه. فكان الرد قوي، مش بس من عندنا، كمان في القدس الرد كان قوي، وكمان في الضفة الغربية، لأنه يعني ما بيقدر الواحد يتحمل الضغوط.
صح صح أكيد. So he's saying that like the third thing I was trying to ask is for this week, who shot the first kind of missile? And what he's saying is, ever since the 1967, Israel's been shelling and bombing us. It's been nonstop. So هالأسبوع يعني أكيد التفاصيل صعب عشان يعني بيجي أكثر من بس هالأسبوع بس أكيد. بس حابة بس أأكد إنه يعني مجموعة حماس هو يعني رسل الانفجارات إلى إسرائيل أول شيء بعد العنف في مسجد الأقصى، ولا إسرائيل يعني رسلوا الأول انفجارات هالأسبوع؟
انفجارات، ما كانت الانفجارات بدايتها من إسرائيل، لكن كان من إسرائيل إطلاق نار على مزارعين في الأراضي الحدودية اللي هي هلأ قاعدة عم تضرب في الدبابات.
أوكي
وكان إحنا مدينة ساحلية غزة، فبتعتمد على الصيد.
أوكي
مراكب الصيادين في البحر تيجي الزوارق البحرية اللي هي القوارب تابعة للجيش مجهزة بالأسلحة، وبتطلق النار عليهم أو بتعتقلهم.
أوكي. وهذا صار هالأسبوع؟
صحيح. لا، هو ما
أوكي
ما صار الأسبوع هذا بس، هذا بيصير طول الوقت.
طول
إحنا
الوقت.
تقريبا كل يوم،
عم بفكر
كل يوم
انه
تقريبا في عنا. لا، احنا لما بيكون في هدنة، طول ما هي الهدنة موجودة برضه بتكون إسرائيل عم تتحركش في المزارعين وفي الصيادين. في ناس ما معهم سلاح، ناس ما رايحة تقاتل، ناس رايحة تدور على أكلها وشربها.
So this week, what he was saying, because I was trying to see, like, just for this week, who provoked who, where. Obviously, we know that the Palestinians were provoked by those first two steps I was talking about. But for this thing, it seemed that Israel didn't come out first bombing Gaza, but what they did do was killing and shooting farmers on the land, either from the side of the border or from the ocean. Then وبعدين رسلوا حماس القصف إلى إسرائيل، صح؟
صحيح.
Okay, so
وكمان شغلة
then Hamas sent the
كمان
200 bombs. شو؟
احنا كمان لازم نشرح كمان إشي،
Okay.
إنه إحنا لما بنقول إنه إحنا رسلنا العدد اللي أنت بتسمعيه ال 200، إحنا هدول ال 200 لو نزلوا في مكان واحد ما بيعملوا قدرة الصاروخ الإسرائيلي اللي هو مصنع في أكبر تكنولوجيا موجودة في العالم. الجيش الإسرائيلي يعني هو ثاني جيش بعد الأمريكي من الناحية التكنولوجية، لأن التكنولوجيا الأمريكية تضاف للجيش الإسرائيلي.
أنا حكيت بالضبط هاي لما كنت عم بحكي بالإنجليزي بسرعة أنا قلت بالضبط 100% شو حكيت. Okay, so guys, he pretty much just completely validated what I said before about that, like, the reason they sent so many rockets from like Hamas to Israel is because Israel's technology is just so sharp that if they sent anything less, it would literally be nothing, like no impact. So I totally get that. Okay, فبعدين يعني أنا شفت كتير أشياء كتير أخبار شوي مختلف، مش بس انفجارات ولا قصف وهيك. أنا شفت كمان إنه كان في ريبورتاج إنه الإسرائيليين عم تقتل الفلسطينيين مع السلك like حوالي العنق هيك. هاي
ايوه،
عم
بس
بيصير؟
هاي ما بتصير عندنا في
اوكي
غزة، هاي في أراضي الضفة الغربية وفي الأراضي 48 اللي هي مدينة اللد أو مدينة يافا، مدينة الرملة. هاي المدن فيها فلسطينيين من الأول، ما قدروا يهجروهم، وقاعدين هلأ يعني في مشروع الأبرتهاي. هم يعني ماشيين في المشروع، عم يطهروها من أي إشي عربي أو مسلم موجود في هاي المدن، قاعدين عم يشيلوه. زي ما شفتي في مدينة القدس في حي الشيخ جراح، هم ما بدهم إياهم أصلا يسكنوا هون. يعني المشكلة مو إنهم بتعرضوا لهم أو إشي، لا، هم ما بدهم إياهم أصلا هون.
فعم تقول انه آه, عم بسوي هيك مع هي طريقة القتيل صح؟ like حاليا مش بس
صحيح.
بالتاريخ يعني
هم
هالأسبوع.
بيستعملوها في الأماكن اللي فيها أقليات عربية.
وهي يعني هالأسبوع صار.
صحيح.
Okay, so guys, literally they are now lynching. Okay, lynching. Okay, that was way in the past. They're doing it now. Okay, lynching people, and who are the people? The Palestinians. So the Israelis, يعني الجنود الإسرائيلي عم بيسووا هيك.
لا 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 لا، ما حتى
مين؟
هم مش جنود إسرائيليين.
ما
هم
حكيت.
أساسا الأماكن اللي هم فيها ما في، الأماكن اللي هم فيها ما فيها تواجد من الجيش، هي أماكن موجود فيها الشرطة الإسرائيلية، لأنها هي
الشرطة.
أراضي تتبع لدولة الاحتلال، تتبع لدولة إسرائيل. هلا في فئة من اليهود احنا بنسميهم مستوطنين، اللي هم بيجي بياخد بيت حدا عربي
مهم، مهم،
وبيسكن فيه.
مهم.
فهدول الجماعات دايما جماعات متطرفة. هاي الجماعات هي اللي بتعمل هاي الأشياء. بس يعني الملفت للنظر هون إنه الشرطة الإسرائيلية بتعطيهم الحماية لارتكاب هاي الأشياء، وبتمنع الفلسطيني حتى إنه يدافع عن بيته.
Okay, okay. So اوكي اول شيء يعني الناس يلي عم بتسوي هالقتيل هيك يعني هم المستوطنين والشرطة يدافع عنهم.
الشرطة تساندهم. He's support.
Oh, look at you. Good job. No, but literally, okay, guys. So lynching, as I was saying, the Israeli settlers, according to Mahmoud, are lynching the Palestinian minority towns. So like when Palestinians are a minority in the town, those towns, they are going lynching the Palestinians that were in their own homes. Okay, then they're taking over those homes, and the Israeli police are protecting those people who are lynching those people. Can you imagine that? Like, this is crazy. This is, I mean, like, definition of apartheid and like racial killings. It's crazy. Um, يعني like, uh,
كمان
wow.
بدي أعطيك معلومة كمان، إنه هدول الناس هم أصلهم عربي، هم
Mm-hmm.
مسلمين، لكن هم حاملين الجنسية الإسرائيلية، لكن مجرد إنه عربي مسلم فما كان هيك.
فهم عندهم جنسية إسرائيلية.
صحيح، لأنه هم الأراضي اللي ضايلين فيها تتبع للسلطة الإسرائيلية.
Oh my God.
لكن
Okay. Oh, sorry.
لكن
تفضل.
يتم تصنيف الجنسية إلى درجات.
Oh
يعني
my
بما
God.
إنه عربي
Mm-hmm.
بما إنه عربي أصله فلسطيني مسلم، ما بيكون له كامل الحقوق زي الإسرائيلي.
Okay. So what Mahmoud is saying is like the Palestinians don't have the same rights as Israelis, even if they have the Israeli passport. Because yes, some Palestinians did get to acquire the Israeli passport when Israel first became a country. So those Palestinians who were being lynched in majority Israeli or majority Jewish towns, and they are the Palestinian origins are the minority, they're being lynched even though they are too Israeli citizens. So the police aren't even defending their own citizens. This is not even a Palestinian with a Palestinian passport. It's a Palestinian with an Israeli passport. مش معقول. I can't believe it. Okay. Crazy. So حابة أسألك يعني ما بدي أخذ كثير من وقتك، ويعني بعرف إنه الكهرباء يعني نادر وهيك، وبدي أحترم وقتك، ويعني كان لي شرف تكون معنا. حابة أسألك شو حلمك ك... إذا أنت كنت رئيس العالم يعني تسوي للبلدان تانية اللي عندهم قدرة وسيطرة، يعني ممكن الولايات المتحدة أو أوروبا وهيك، شو الحلم؟ شو بدك منهم تيساعد أو أي شيء؟
مش مطلوب منهم إشي مستحيل أو كثير. يعني هو المطلوب، لو سألت أي فلسطيني شو المطلوب، بقول لك إني أنا أعيش بسلام، يكون عندي مكان أعيش فيه، وطن، يكون عندي القدرة العلاجية، يكون عندي قدرة التعليم، ويكون عندي حق العبادة اللي أنا بدي إياها. وهاي الشغلات إذا ما كانت موجودة في أي دولة فما بتقدر تقوم الدولة أصلا.
So he said what he's asking for from these. I asked him what's his dream. Like if he could rule the world, like what would he ask these powerful countries like the U.S. or Europe? He said the things we're asking for are not impossible. We literally just want the right to live and live peacefully and live in a safe place where we can learn and be happy. So that, I mean, that should be a human right for all. So, I mean, it's amazing. I hope you stay safe. Please keep us posted. يعني الله يحميك يعني يعطيك ألف عافية. ضل معنا. إذا في شيء جديد بدك توصل للعالم خصوصا للغرب احكي لي. حبي يعني ارسل الصوت تبعك للعالم عشان يعني ما في كتير ناس بأمريكا يلي بيفهم عربي وحبي يعني اشرح هالاشي لإلهم عشان في كتير ناس أمريكي يلي بدهم يعرفوا أكتر وبدهم يساعد. بس يعني إحنا هون نعيش like مكان like مثالي ما بنعرف كتير أشياء عن العالم وهيك وكمان يعني في إبادة كبير. فشكرا عن جد عشان فكر اليوم هي الاشي
في بدي
يساعد. أو شو
بدي أقول لك، أنا بدي أقول لك إشي، إنه إحنا الصورة النمطية عند الشعب الأمريكي إنه إحنا عبارة عن ناس إرهابيين. هلا إحنا في فلسطين وحتى في غزة اللي هم بيعتبروها إنه جماعة إرهابيين ومتشددين دينيا، إحنا في عنا آه، طائفة مسيحية موجودة وعندنا كنائس، وبيقدروا يمارسوا كل العبادات اللي بدهم إياها بدون أي مشاكل.
So what he's saying is
وكمان
there is a terror. Oh, sorry, go. يلا.
كمان وكمان قبل سنة 48 احنا كان في تواجد للديانة اليهودية بفلسطين، واحنا ما عندنا مشكلة مع الديانة اليهودية. احنا مشكلتنا مش مع الدين اليهودي، احنا مشكلتنا مع إسرائيل اللي هي اجت واحتلت أرضنا.
Exactly. So what he's saying is there is a really strong stereotype in the US about Palestinians that they're extremely conservative and that they're terrorists. But that's not true. We have churches, he says. We have Christians living amongst us. There's not just one religion here, there's multiple religions, and we're not all terrorists at all. And تاني شيء I'm thinking I got so into that. What was the second thing? شو قلت تاني شيء? What did you say? نسيت.
اوكي.
Wait,
انا راح
أنا
اقول
قلت
لك
عن الصورة
انه
النمطية oh my god, what was it? I
هو انه
forgot.
الديانة المسيحية متواجدة عندنا وبكامل اريحية.
Okay, والثالث شيء أنا قلت عن المسيحيين. Oh,
اوكي،
the Jews.
وثالث
Yes,
اشي
thank
انه
you. كان في شخص. Thank you. It can't to 2019. He reminded me. Thank you. وكمان Jews lived in Palestine way before Israel became a state, and they lived in peace, and it was fine, and they had no problems with them. It's just the problem they have is the occupation when someone comes in and takes. But yes, oh my gosh, كلام يعني حكيم صح. وحبي أوصل هالفكرة للعالم عشان هاي مشكلة حقوق الإنسان، يعني حقوق إنسانية مش يعني دين ولا أي شيء. فشكرا كتير لك. بتحب
في
تشارك أي
كمان
شيء تاني؟
في كمان
يلي
نقطة. اكبر
آه آه
اكبر اكبر
يلا.
كنيسة للمسيحيين في العالم متواجدة في القدس الشرقية، واللي هي كنيسة المهد.
Oh my gosh,
وتاني
the biggest church in أكبر كنيسة بالعالم قلت؟
مش بالحجم، هي أقدس، مش أكبر، أقدس
أقدس.
كنيسة.
Okay.
هي
The
اللي هي
most holy
الكنيسة
church in the
اللي
world is
انولد
in
فيها
East
عيسى
Jerusalem.
أصلاً.
وتاني
هي
شيء؟
الكنيسة اللي انولد فيها عيسى.
yeah be okay.
الكنيسة اللي انولد فيها عيسى، وكمان في كنيسة اسمها البشارة برضو من أقدم الكنائس في العالم، وهاي كانت تحت الحكم الفلسطيني قبل ما يجي الإسرائيليين وياخذوا الأرض. وبرضو إحنا ما منعنا الدين المسيحي إنه يكون فيها، بالعكس هي تعتبر من المقدسات حتى عنا إحنا كمسلمين.
Yes. Okay. So, like, these places are the most holy places for Christians, like most holy churches where Jesus has been, and the Muslims respect these places. They're not against them. They welcome them. حلو. عن جد حلو. حابك تضيف أي شيء تاني؟
تمام،
يعني
شكرا لك.
شكرا كثير إلك. وأنا راح أحط سيف يعني على هالفيديو، شاركوا مع كل الناس عشان يعني بيفهموا عن كل القصة. Guys, share this video. I'm going to post it right now on live to save it. I'm hopefully going to also save a copy just in case. But yes, oh my gosh, شكرا كثير 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 إلك، والله يعطيك ألف عافية والله يحميك، ويعني be safe. We're here with you. If you ever want to come back, come back. Bye guys. Thank you for coming. Have a great night. Thank you, Mahmoud. شكرا. مع السلامة.